Hey, in this video, you are going to understand how to write about a topic in Languagecert Writing module. So there is a topic which you need to write about. That's the second part of Languagecert Academic. So in Languagecert in part two, wherein they don't call it an essay, but if you look at Pearson Test of English, IELTS, TOEFL, they call it an essay. But here they don't call it an essay; they call it a topic. Write about a topic. So a topic is given to us. In the topic you will find that there are two different views, and also you are supposed to express, you need to understand first the views of uh, two different people, sections of people, and then give your stand opinion. So first of all, you need to understand the requirements of the question. Also first understand the topic. In the topic you will find two different views, and then you need to discuss both the views. It says means what you need to understand. Maybe one paragraph you can talk about one view, second paragraph you can talk about the other set of other view, then third paragraph you can talk about your stand. What is your stand? If people think of, differently about the topic, then what is your stand? What do you say after looking at those two different views? So we can write four paragraphs. So writing our response in accordance with the requirements of the question is very, very important. Otherwise, you will not get the right required score. And you know that writing about a topic significantly contributes to your 89 out of 100 superior score in writing module of language cert. So look at this now. So first paragraph happens to be introduction. Here we will express how we have understood the question. You can just write about it in your own words. Don't copy paste the question, of course, but you have to write in your words how you have understood the topic. So there could be two couple of sentences you might write. One is the meaning of the question, and the other is what addressing the questions. Maybe there are two different views like this. You can talk about it. You can read that, of course. Then body one talks about uh, or body one addresses the first part of the question. That is what one view of the question. uh, right, some people who are in favor of artificial intelligence in schools, so what do they say, right? Why do they favor? So you can write, avoid writing questions as part of your response. You can avoid writing questions, exclamations, quotations, you can avoid. So this body paragraph addresses the first part of the question, whereas the next part of the question is what? Second part of the question. That is what the other set of people who are not in favor of artificial intelligence in academic institutions. Why do they oppose the presence of artificial intelligence? Maybe you can express in another body paragraph. In very simple terms, your language, your ideas can be simple, and the way you express your idea should be super simple. You should not, when you write your response, you should not give any chance to computer to highlight anything as a mistake. And of course, here the assessment is extremely reliable because language cert depends on both humans and also computer for assessing and arriving at a score. So this is the most reliable assessment criteria if you ask me. Then body 3 talks about the other part of the question. That is what, yeah, it will address the other part of the question. What is that? When you discuss both the views, then what is your stand? What do you say about artificial intelligence in schools and colleges and universities? That's what. So you can talk about your one. Maybe at the end you can always give your message. So that's how you can. So when you write like this, it means you have understood the topic and you have addressed different questions in the topic, in the actual question. So then for you to get the score, assessment criteria would be what? These are grammar, content relevance, spell, vocabulary, word count. So the one that I have written is 231 out of 250. And you can get your superior score, that is 89 out of 100 in language cert writing module, only when your response is not going to be highlighted from grammar perspective, spell perspective, and all that. Word count also you can write around 230, 240, 250. That's an ideal count. But language cert says you can write up to 250, but I would recommend you to write not less than 230, 240, 250 ideal count. And see that when you write, when you are very sure of the spell, write it. You can write either British spell or American spell, of course. Content relevance means what? Whatever the sentence you write in your response, it should be relevant to the given views or topic. You cannot use any template. Template if you use, then language cert will gives you 0. So don't use any template. And grammar, you need not be an expert, but ensure that when you write simple sentences, maybe you can watch my other videos on grammar part in writing an essay. we have another video, but otherwise, and common mistakes in English also, that also you can watch it. But otherwise, for you to, if you are aspiring for superior score in a language test, particularly in language cert, make sure that you can write the essay by yourself, which is easy, right? Pretty easy. You need to understand the criteria, then understand the question requirements, and see that every paragraph addresses each requirement of the actual question. Then we'll get a superior score. So that's not going to be a big deal to get it.